Halo is a universe where humanity is constantly on the edge of extinction. It takes place in the 26th century across colonized planets and deep space. Humanity is at war with the Covenant, a powerful alliance of alien races who believe humans are an affront to their gods. To fight back, humanity created the Spartan-programmed super soldiers trained from childhood and enhanced with brutal augmentations. Even our boy Master Chief, iconic green armor Jude, is a genetically enhanced child soldier abducted at age 6, cloned and chemically altered into a walking tank for a war that wasn't even about the Flood at first, just human-on-human violence. The Flood is a parasite, a mindless plague that infects and devours entire civilizations. It spreads fastening the dead into monsters. The Forerunners, an ancient hyper-advanced species, encountered the Flood long before humanity or the Covenant even existed. They couldn't stop it, so the genius solution built giant metal hula hoops called halos that when activated wipe out all sentient life in the galaxy. The Flood can't infect what doesn't exist. Simple and effective. Fast forward thousands of years, and the Covenant think the halos are sacred relics that'll teleport them to heaven or whatever, so naturally they try to turn them on. Meanwhile, Master Chief Ice out here sprinting through space stations, blowing up ancient doomsday machines and carrying an AI named Cortana in his head like she's Siri with fear and hunger. Fear and hunger. I say, world where death isn't the worst thing that can happen to you. It takes place in a twisted medieval land filled with ancient gods, brutal cults, and endless suffering. The dungeon itself is live in a metaphorical sense and maybe literal too, because walls bleed door scream, and the deeper you go the Moretti laws of reality start looking like suggestions, and then you hit the ancienticity where the gods used to walk and suddenly there's no logic. Want a weapon? Sure, kill a guard and take their sword, but now your character's infected with rot, slowly dying because the corpse you looted was cursed. Want to heal? You better hope you have heroin, not a joke. It's literally one of the healing items. Let's not forget the new gods, or immortal beings that ascended by committing truly unspeakable acts. The gods of rot, cruelty, and decay. Cavaltiel. He drifts through the dungeons like a divine executioner, prayed too hard at his attention, and it's game over. He'll show up, bend reality, and erase you from existence. So yeah, if you're looking for a world where the most merciful thing that can happen is dying early, then fear and hunger is the place for you. Pray to the wrong god, you won't like what answers. Hell 5 is an universe where humanity's advancement led to its downfall. It takes place in the near future, where the Black Mesa Research Facility, a secretive government-run research center, accidentally opens a portal to another dimension. This breach allows alien creatures known as the Yigg-Zen to invade the Earth, but things get worse when the government's response is not to save humanity, but to cover up their mistakes and keep the truth from getting out. This is where Gordon Freeman, the protagonist, is. In a scientist-turned-reluctant hero, Gordon is stuck in the middle of a world that's falling apart. With the help of a few allies, including the tough as snails Alex Vance, he battles against the alien invasion and a brutal military force known as the Combine, which takes control of Earth after the initial Zen invasion. The world is a dystopian nightmare with cities ruled by the Combine. The Combine are no strangers to cruelty, enslaving entire populations and stripping the planet of its resource man. The various creatures that come through the rift are the zombies, humans transformed by alien parasites. There's a grotesque creatures were once scientists, soldiers, and other workers at Black Mesa, but after the Zen invasion, they are taken over by parasitic alien life forms. Zombies are some of the most unsettling creatures, as their actions suggest that a small piece of the humanity remains in their decayed bodies, unable to escape. Wolfenstein takes place in a dystopian future when RZ forces equipped with advanced technology control most of the globe. The history centers around William Blazewicz, a resistance fighter determined to stop the Nazis and liberate world from their reign. After the Nazis in this universe are not just about controlling nature. They've taken scientific advancements and combined them with dark horrific experience. They've created armies of robotic soldiers and cyborgs, making them an even more dangerous force in the newer de Blazewicz wakes up from a coma after 14 years to find that the Nazis have won World War II thanks to their advanced technology like robot dogs and lasers. His mission, well, to start an underground resistance, take down Hitler's new empire, and eventually take down the big bad General Death's head aboard ugly-looking Nazi officer. Their resistance is small and overwhelmed by the unrelenting forces of the Nazi regime. It's a world where humanity's survival is dependent on one person, and beyond all that the personal stories of the characters add to the darkness. Blazewicz is a man scarred not only by war, but also by the personal losses he's endured. His fight is not just against the Nazis, but against the overwhelming horror of what they've done to the world. Crusade is a horrifying, brutal universe that pushes the boundaries of human suffering and depravity. This world is ravaged by a horrific virus that spreads rapidly, turning its victims into sadistic, violent creatures known as Crusade. The virus doesn't just transform people into mindless zombies, it turns them into monstrous, sexually deviant, and utterly savage versions of themselves. Think of as zombie apocalypse, but instead of mindless walkers, you get hyper-intelligent, sadistic maniacs with a red cross-shaped rash on their faces. The infected or crossed show no mercy. They to a kill, and sometimes worse, preying on the weak and the helpless in the most unimaginable ways. The survivors are constantly fighting to stay alive in a world that's become a nightmare of theorist fears there's no cure or end in sight. The infected overrun entire cities, and those who remain human are left to endure unimaginable horrors as they struggle to hold on to whatever is left of their humanity. The survivors aren't just fighting for their lives, they are fighting to preserve the very essence of her. Every choice they make is a question of survival, and often they are forced to make morally corrupt decisions just to stay alive. There are variations like Smokey across who stays smart and basically becomes a warlord. But that just makes it worse. Imagine someone who has all the sadism of the virus, but also working brain. Yeah, he organizes autocross, gives orders, plans raids, and he enjoys it. Trench Crusade. Trench Crusade universe is set in an alternate version of World War I. But forget politics and Trenchfoot. This war is against literal monsters, demons, angels, and cosmic horrors that should have stayed in whatever void they crawled out. Both the front lines are still trenches, but they're now infested with unholy abominations that eat, maim, and possess everything that moves. Religion is a key part of this world, because soldiers aren't just carrying rifles, they're praying those rifles still work. When a three-headed martyr beast starts climbing out of a crate of faith, becomes weaponized holy relics, exorcisms, and divine blessings are actual tactical. The law is intentionally vague and ripping with cosmic horror. Think of it like if the Silent Hill got drafted into the Great War. Helldivers. Helldivers takes place in a future where Earth is ruled by the Super Earth, a militaristic regime that claims to uphold miniature democracy. Sounds nice until you realize it's a totalitarian system that spreads its rule across the galaxy through brute force. Enter the Helldivers. Elite soldiers dropped onto hostile alien planets to fight for Super Earth's expansion. Their missions are anything but clean. You are not saving people, you are exterminating giant bugs, deadly robots, and alien cyborgs are all enemies of Super Earth, and the Helldivers are sent to wipe them out. The enemies are relentless, the terrain is brutal, and one mistake can get your entire squad killed, often by your own team's weapons. Helldivers believe they're heroes. They're told they're spreading freedom. In reality, they're crushing resistance under the flag of democracy. Helldivers don't have names, they have liberty, capeship armor, and a one-way ticket to explode in the name of propaganda. Every mission contributes to a galactic warrant. When you liberate a planet, Super Earth pats you on the back and immediately sends you into another meat grinder. Ultrakill. Ultrakill is one of the most brutal, chaotic universes out there, set in a world where demons and angels alike have turned Earth into a battleground. The universe takes place in a never-ending war that is as violent as it is absurd. Humanity is gone. The Earth is just a playground for carnage. Nowhere the only survivors are bloodthirsty warriors fighting against countless demonic enemies and corrupted angels. You play as V1, a blood-fueled murder machine in a post-apocalyptic spip where humanity is extinct, and machines now hunt demons for one thing only: blood, not for the edge, literally for health. In Ultrakill, you heal by bathing in the blood of your enemies. No kids, no cover, just violence. The faster and bloodier you are, the longer you live. This universe doesn't waste time on details or long explanation. What you see is what you get: massive vegans, insane mobility, and dynamic designated to make you wish you had even more firepower at your disposal. This universe is a nightmare of violence where the only thing that matters is killing your enemies faster than they can kill you. And the monsters, they're terrifying, relentless, and seem to come in endless waves, making it feel like the chaos will never stop. In Ultrakill, live fear. What remains of it is short-handedly. There's no happy ending, just an endless cycle of battle.